Hey all, Marie-Louise here, and I'm joined by my two cats, so they might pop in at any second. I wanted to come to you today about empathy. It's such an important thing to think about any day of the week, any year really, but I'm becoming more and more aware of how I have to feel about somebody else and what they're going through. And it kind of makes a big, I don't know why I say kind of, it makes a big difference in how I react and how I respond to them and really how I look after them. And that's super important. And we've all got people in our lives that we can look after better. And, most of us are having a hard time, I think, of COVID. It's not an easy thing. None of us ever has been through a pandemic before. So we don't have any experience in this. And it's affecting all of us differently and at different times. You can be right as rain one minute and the next minute a bawling mess. So, it's very difficult. But there's a person that I want to identify for you that I think maybe you're not thinking about, and if you are, by all means, please just keep on keeping on, and you're doing an amazing job. But if you're not, maybe it's time to think a little bit outside the square and think about a woman that you can help. So I've been meaning to make this video because I've been thinking a lot about the women who are going through the pandemic like the rest of us, but they're actually seeing their future slip away from them. So there will be women out there who are single and who are thinking, this is never going to happen for me. I'm never going to have a baby. And the longer COVID goes on, the longer this pandemic goes on for, the harder it's going to be for them. Because if they're single, then that means that they very likely don't have a boyfriend. And so they've wasted, possibly, not by their own choice, but time has passed that they could have been using. They have not been able to go out and date and find somebody. Not that they were necessarily looking to have a boyfriend or a baby, by Christmas, but time is slipping away for them, and especially if they're late 30s, in their 40s, they would definitely be feeling the pressure of this opportunity being taken away from them. And I can certainly understand how that feels for them. And even though now I am a lot more on board with not having a baby, and especially during COVID, I'm certainly grateful in a lot of ways that didn't happen for me. But that doesn't mean that I'm not thinking about these women and just thinking how difficult this must be for them. When you're thinking about, especially now in Melbourne and in Victoria, there are a lot of restrictions as well. But, where I am, we're very, very much locked down. I've been locked down for 5 weeks because I was in one of those first 10 postcodes. So a woman in my situation would already have been feeling trapped, and now it'd be like the walls are falling in on her. That's how I imagine it to be. And she will be thinking back over opportunities that she's missed when she was able to go out. So times that she went out and wasn't really feeling it, so didn't really talk to anybody, didn't make the most of the situation. She would be going through a catalogue of those right now, guys that she turned down for dates that she wasn't interested in, and it's a good thing she turned them down because she wasn't interested. But now's the time that sort of thing would be coming back to her, and she might be second guessing some of her past decisions. There would be times where she is just thinking about broken relationships and wondering whether she might have been able to do anything to save them. Might her situation now be different if she had? So there are so many things that might be going through her mind that you might not be thinking about, and that's okay. You're living your life and you're probably doing it hard as well in your own way. But I want to highlight the plight, in a way, of a single childless woman who is childless not by choice. There are so many out there who are childless because they were busy with helping family. You know, they were tending to their parents, or so busy studying and trying to get their career going, and, you know, they're really successful in that regard. But now they're realizing that they want the other part of life, and it's probably not going to happen for them. Some who've been sick and are not able to conceive, or have missed the boat because they were sick during their fertility window, basically, you know, in the last 10 years or so. You know, there are so many different reasons women are unable to have children and hit their 40s and realize that they've missed that chance. And I'm always going to bring some of those reasons to you, because those women are walking around everywhere. At the moment, they're wearing masks, but I can tell you that they've always been wearing a mask. The mask that they have been wearing for, you know, years is one of sadness, betrayal by their body, perhaps, regret about decisions that they've made or not made, time that they've wasted thinking they had all the time in the world. You know, those things that have been going on in them, they've just been walking around wearing that like it wasn't even there. They know that they have been living half a life, and they're also trying to reconcile with that as well, that they've been hoping and praying, but maybe not doing all the things that they needed to do to make their baby dream happen. And, you know, that's a tough life. That's a really tough life, because there are people out there who will say, oh, but did you do this and but did you do that? And it's like, well, the ship has sailed for some of them. Asking them if they did everything they could doesn't actually help. It really, really doesn't, because they can't go back and fix it. So what you're doing is dredging up all the things that they wish they could have done, but you're actually just making it worse. So, you know, it's not helpful. I know you might think you're being helpful, but that's not necessarily the way to go. But what I would suggest is that if you know a woman who is single, late 30s, into her 40s and 50s, and has not had children, just listen for some cues that she might be, you know, sending out. If you know for sure that she wanted to have a child and wasn't able to do it, I want you to really think about the way you talk to her and the way you respond to what she says, because some of the things that she might say will come across to you as insults, but she's really just trying to think it. She's so hurt about her own situation that she can't think of another way of saying it. You know, she might make a passing comment about you and your husband or your family, or your perfect little family, for example. And, you know, you might hear the smart ass aspect of that, but actually from her side, she's just trying to get out that she's really upset and she's really struggling to listen to everything that goes on in your life, and knowing that she doesn't have it and that she won't ever have it. And it's not to say you should stop talking to her and stop telling her your stories and about your life. That's absolutely not it. But maybe take a break and listen to what's going on in her life. Don't be too dismissive about things. I can tell you that if anybody said to me, well, you're so lucky you're alone right now, I would want to put them through a wall. Because, yeah, logically, it's easier. I don't have children to deal with. I'm not homeschooling. Like, I understand all that stuff logically, but that doesn't mean it's your place to say that. And it doesn't mean that it's going to come across like, oh, yeah, you're right. Like, I'm going to be so grateful that you pointed that aspect of my life out. That's not how it's going to come across. So try to put yourself into her shoes. She might be wearing slippers right now because she's probably at home, you know, the way we all are. But think about that. Think about how you've got somebody to say goodnight to, how you've got, you know, kisses and cuddles all day, not all night, whether you want them or not. Whether they're annoying, whether you're, I know all the little things that you may wish away sometimes. You might wish you could just go to the toilet and not have somebody bang on the door. I understand that's frustrating. By the way, I have a cat that joins me in the toilet. So, some of those things we actually do understand. But when you're thinking about those things, try to think about how she doesn't have any of that, and how it can be just as upsetting for her in her world as it is in yours at the moment during COVID. It is so hard. And not only that, but she's actually watching her life pass her by. Because if she's single, if she can't afford IVF, and IVF is not cheap, and it can be really difficult to go through on your own. So while IVF clinics are open, it doesn't mean she's able to do it. And maybe she's been working all this time saving up for IVF, and now she's not working and she's fucked. So IVF still supposedly works better on a younger body, and she's now had 5 months of COVID stress, and the thought of being unemployed. Even if she did have the money for IVF and she got pregnant, how's she going to raise that baby now that she's gone through all of her savings? There are so many aspects of this. And I just really want you to be conscious that the life you think somebody's living may not be as rosy as you think it is. And while you're complaining, and rightly so, nobody's saying you shouldn't complain, but while you're going through what you're going through, she's going through something that you may not ever have a chance to understand, even if you try really hard. But you just have to show some empathy and just be there for her. Be there for her in whatever way she needs, and try to read between the lines, because it can be really difficult to talk to your friends who are parents about what you're going through, and your family as well, especially your own parents, because they've had children, they don't understand it either. So just try to be as open-minded as possible, because these women are seeing the rest of their life slip away like they're at the ocean and there's a fucking landslide. That's how it feels. It feels like the ground has completely fallen out from underneath them. And that's not something that is easily understood. But if you can be there for them and listen, and just ignore some of the hurtful comments that you find hurtful, because they're actually hurting inside, and that's why they're saying them. They don't mean it as an insult. They're not trying to be nasty. Well, generally. But sometimes it can come out that way when they're just trying to open up and tell you what they're going through. So, as always, if you've watched this video, I'd really appreciate a thumbs up or a nice big heart. I'm always trying to highlight what it's like to be a single childless woman, not by choice, so by circumstance. And I would love you to pass the word on. Share this page, share this post. Just, you don't have to make a big song and dance about how you're supporting your friend who's single and childless. That's not something she wants. But just share a post. Share one of the posts on my page, and that'll get the word out bit by bit, and it might also help your friend to know that there's somebody like me who is advocating for her, because I absolutely am advocating for her. And I also have a group that she can join, that she will be supported by other women who know exactly what she's going through and what she's been going through and what her future is like, and how it can be amazing, but it just takes some time to get to that point. So please like, heart, share, tag, do what you have to do. Be the supportive, amazing person that you are to your single friend who has not probably had the life that you've got. All right. Thank you so much. I will speak to you all again soon.